Not many at the start of the season. Looking ahead to how things would look going into this international break, we'd have Real Sociedad top of the table, but that's exactly where we are. 2 points clear of Villarreal. Real Madrid, of course, dropping to fourth this weekend after losing 4-1 against Valencia. Let's start there, shall we, Sid? Because for the first time ever in the history of La Liga, Real Madrid conceded 3 penalties in one match. I'm sure it's all being taken in a very measured and calm way.
Yep, absolutely no controversy, no arguing, no one getting upset. Everyone's just accepted this and moved on.
Now, obviously, they won't. They'll blow this up, and Real Madrid complaining about VAR is quite something considering the decisions that they've received over the last 18 months. First penalty, third penalty, you can't argue, can you? Second one, yes, but overall, look, you lost. Get on with it.
Actually, to be honest with you, look, while of course there has been a lot of discussion of the penalties, there's been discussion as well even of the move that led to the own goal, with the possibility of there being a foul on Marco Asensio in the build-up to it. I think the size of the defeat for Real Madrid, the way that they collapsed after they conceded the equaliser, means that the focus, while there has been quite a lot of focus on the VAR, while there has been some of the classic anger that you would expect, and as you say, in the context of what's happened in the last few months, that kind of pulls the discussion back the other way a little bit. But I actually think that more of the focus has been on what's wrong with Real Madrid. And you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were saying that maybe the problem was that they weren't scoring enough goals, that they weren't taking the few chances that they made. Now we're looking at it from the other end of the pitch and thinking there's a really quite big problem at the back.
Yeah, what is going on, Sid? Because you take a look at it, big test, beat Barcelona, beat Inter Milan. Both aren't really that good, but still you get the results against them, that you go out and put in a performance like this. It's very difficult, isn't it, to kind of make any sort of sweeping statements regarding Real Madrid at the moment because you don't know what you're going to get.
Well, I think that's true. I think there are a number of things that are sort of semi-predictable, but I think you're broadly right. I mean, one thing that was interesting post-game, the pitch side interview was done by Thibaut Courtois, and the first question he was asked was, how can you explain this? And I really liked his answer. He said, that's a good question. I don't know. And it was a bizarre game. It was a game that defies easy analysis. The fact that it was 3 penalties and an own goal. And look, let's look at this from the point of view of the Real Madrid back four, shall we? The left back, the right back, and one of the centre-backs, all of them gave away a penalty. The only member of the back four who didn't give away a penalty scored an absolutely ludicrous own goal. That's the back four for you. They've completely gifted this game. Real Madrid conceded in half an hour more penalties than in the whole of last season put together.
Wow.
So it tells you that this was kind of a one-off. It was a game that's difficult to analyse. It was a game that's difficult to judge. Real Madrid had started reasonably well, actually, for 25 minutes or so. But at the same time, some of what we saw, I think, was broadly predictable. And while I don't particularly like reducing it to individuals, let's reduce it to individuals, shall we? At least so we can start looking at the analysis. And let's start with saying, when Real Madrid don't have Casemiro, they tend to struggle. They've tended to struggle when they do have Isco, although I think focusing on Isco is probably a little bit harsh. And they certainly tend to struggle when they have Marcelo. And those, of course, are 3 factors that all came together on Sunday night.
What is the expectation regarding Real Madrid at the moment, Sid? They won La Liga last year, obviously, got it done, not particularly impressive. They go into this season as favourites. Everything that's going on in Catalonia would suggest that was the right thing to do. Yet there's nothing about them that makes you think that, yes, this is a team that can compete with, say, a Bayern Munich this season. There's nothing to suggest that this is a team that have got a project and they're very much focusing on that project and it's going to take them to the next level.
I think you're absolutely right, and it's curious. I'm very struck by this. I must say, by how, I don't know how best to express this, by how accepting people are of this.
Right.
There seems to be this belief in Spain now that, well, we look at Madrid and Barcelona, we know that they're not really good enough to win the Champions League at the moment. That Bayern Munich and Liverpool and maybe Manchester City, maybe 1 or 2 others are a step ahead of them, and it feels disconcerting to be in a position where that is just taken as a truth now. And so when you say what were the expectations of Madrid this season, I think even before the season began, the expectations looking at what happened last year were, this is a good team, and it's a good team that if players, the younger players in particular, take a step up, it's a good team that can maybe go on and defend the league title, that can win it 2 years in a row for the first time that's happened at Real Madrid since 2007, 2008, the first time that a manager has done it going all the way back. I think it's over 20 years, the same manager winning the league 2 years in a row. But we have to accept that the Champions League is kind of beyond them, and beyond Barcelona as well, by the way. And as I say, it's been really striking that that's just been accepted. I think when the season began, there was a sense that what we were going to see was perhaps a bit more creativity from last year. What we didn't expect was that as the season progressed, we might see them start to lose that defensive solidity that as those last 8, 9, 10 games of last season showed us, meant that you always felt that they would be in the game. Now they're having kind of 15, 20, 30-minute periods where they just kind of fall apart. And against Valencia, the most striking thing was that once they conceded that first goal, they had no response at all.
How much money has Zidane got in the bank?
Well, look, this is always a really difficult question to answer because, of course, Zidane has the credit, as they call it in Spain, to withstand a series of defeats. He has the credit of everything that he won the first time round, the fact that he came back at a time when Madrid were in big trouble. He came back because they needed him. Although that first season didn't go well when he had 12 games to finish it off, he then won the league, a league that was seen as being frankly beyond them in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, I think this was only the second in 9 seasons that they'd won. And you get in a position where you think, well, this is a guy that we have to respect. And yet, of course, this is Real Madrid. And no manager overcomes 4 or 5 bad results in a row. Remember, we were talking about how if they'd lost the Clásico and then lost in the Champions League and been in a position where they might have got knocked out of the Champions League, he could be in trouble. And every time you think he might be in trouble, you win the Clásico, then you have that Inter Milan game. Had they not won in that Inter Milan game, or had they not come back from 2-0 down in Germany, then he might well have found himself in trouble. Right now, I don't think he is. But given some of the doubts about Real Madrid, you always feel like he's only 2 or 3 games away from those kind of discussions happening again. Not least, and I think it's really important to stress this point, because some of those, how do I put this, public mouthpieces that are critical of Zidane, that are directly attacking him, that have been very much in a position of questioning him when things go wrong, some of those mouthpieces are, put bluntly, the mouthpieces of interest from within the club. Right. And so I think, and Zidane knows that, by the way. Zidane knows that certain people writing in certain newspapers, this has come from within Real Madrid.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.